Welcome to Be the Good with Kate, the show that leaves you inspired to find your passions and help others along the way, because we all have the power to make a difference. Decided to rebroadcast some Be the Good with Kate gems for a bit here in between our usual Friday new releases. So if you missed these the first time, now you get to hear from these inspiring folks. And if you have been here the whole time, first of all, thank you. And second, if you're like me, hearing something again is when the ideas really start to stick. Re-release here, new episode on Friday. Let's keep the good news spreading. Click that subscribe button wherever you are listening right now to be notified when new episodes are released. Or if you prefer an email notification, head to katechericello.com/bethegood to get on that list. The links are in the show notes. Enjoy. And as always, I love hearing from you. Reach out anytime.
Welcome back to Be the Good with Kate, and I'm so excited to introduce you to Tony Vlahovic. He has been the last person I have gotten to squeeze in for this season because you are absolutely in for a treat to hear his journey, and I can't wait to hear more for him. A bit about Tony: he is a former professional baseball player, and today he's an author, coach, and advocate for individuals with disabilities. He spent decades working with the Special Olympics, and now he also has his own nonprofit he'll tell us more about. And this summer, his first book came out, Just Need an Opportunity, Let's Play Ball. And it's full of heart and serves as a testament to what Tony has endured and conquered on and off of the field as both a player and a person. Tony, thanks so much for being here with me today.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate that. And thank you for the squeeze play to get me onto your podcast. I've read some great things and heard some great things about you, and it's an honor to be on your show. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, Tony, thank you. But seriously, right back to you. And Lori Palau, who was a former guest on Be the Good with Kate as well. A great episode about organization. She's the person who connected us. So grateful for Lori as well here. And Tony, please tell us more about who you are and what you do in your own words.
Basically, I wear a lot of different hats, Kate. I am a coach for a local high school team. I coach Special Olympics. I am a rehab therapist and work primarily with people in post-rehab. And I work with a variety of people. I've been doing that for over 30 years. And I started out in that field because of an injury that I suffered. And I was going through rehabilitation, learning how to walk again, which ended my professional baseball career. And going through that process, I realized that if I had an opportunity to do this type of work, I would do it differently. I felt like there was a missing piece of the mental part of healing, because you could sign in to the rehab center, you could stay there 10 minutes or 2 hours. And I just thought that it would be more of a personal touch, more of a personal care for people to help them heal and deal with a lot of the issues that come along with healing, because it's never a straight line up. It's this up and down road. If anybody has ever been injured, you wish it was a straight line to, perfect health and healing. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. And I always tell people, if we can get you back to 90% of what you were, we're doing a great job. There's always that little 10% that you have to deal with. So that's what I do on a daily basis. As you mentioned, I was able to start a nonprofit a few years ago called BaseABLE with some very close friends. And they saw what I was doing with Special Olympics. And I was trying to keep the piece of Special Olympics alive, which was baseball. And backtrack for a second, back in 2011, I was introduced to the CEO of Special Olympics New Jersey, a gentleman named Mark Edenson. And Mark he was basically the pioneer and had this thought that athletes in Special Olympics love baseball so much. And what he got me was that he said, Tony, every day you wear some type of baseball hat. He said, these athletes do the same thing, but they've never had the opportunity to play. So Katie had me at the hat. Is what happened. So my Special Olympics baseball hat, and ever since then, I've been on a journey with him as a mentor, guiding me through years of pulling these athletes together and trying to spread that word. So it's been a real challenge at times, but it's been a real journey. But the athletes that I've met from 2011 are still with me. As I mentioned, have become part of my extended family. I've helped them with getting a job, relationship issues, just talking to them when they're struggling with something, or sharing. One of my athletes got married this past year and was invited to the wedding, and had a bunch of his teammates there, and it was great. Just a lot of fun to see how happy he was to find somebody in his life that he could share that love with.
Amazing. And what's the age range that you work with through Special Olympics?
The age range is interesting. When I started out, my youngest player was 16. My oldest was 54.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a wide range. The beauty of Special Olympics is there really isn't an age range. Like, they have youth programs, very, very small kids that they start to work with and develop, which is amazing. But it can go on. I mean, there are people that involved with Special Olympics, like the USA Games, and they just finished up the International Special Olympics in Berlin. And those athletes could be 70, 80 years old for the different events. And it's intellectual disabilities. There are some physical disabilities. No one is turned away, which is great. It's for men, women. Doesn't matter about the color of your skin, or your religious background. Has nothing to do with that. It's just them as a person, and that's really what you see with these athletes. And I've been around them, probably some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. And once that trust is developed, it comes from the heart. It's not a like anymore; it's a love. Yeah. Walk into practice and you get this big hug, and I could have the worst day of my life in my mind, and this big smile, and, "Hey, coach, how you doing? Great to see you." And I start to smile. Changes like that. So
yes.
Just an amazing group of individuals.
Good. And isn't that amazing with volunteer work in general, that feeling that it's an immediate endorphin boost. It's immediate, like, you're not only helping them, they're helping you feel better as well. It just is how it works out. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's that mutual energy that you walk in, and like I said, it's like having a best friend that no matter what you did, good or bad that day, that person is always there. It's unconditional love is what I'm trying to say. And you really see that, and you really feel that at a certain point. And like I said, I'm like a dog with a bone, Kate, in terms of trying to help these people. And it's not only the people I've come in contact with. I know there's people across North America. There's 61 million people in the United States that have some type of disability. Mm-hmm. So we're really trying to bring more of the awareness to them and the acceptance. And, again, they just need an opportunity. A lot of them have never been given an opportunity, not only to play baseball, but just to do things in general or in life that you and I may take for granted, but they've never had that opportunity. So it's a bigger piece than baseball. Baseball is a platform that we like to build from. And obviously I love baseball, but also if we can help somebody with their life skills and social skills, and become more confident as a person, and have stronger positive relationships, I think it's wonderful. So that's what we're trying to do. So I have a long way to go.
But so much you've already done. And Tony, I'm curious, when you were playing baseball, did you know about the extent of the nonprofit world? Did you have it in your heart already that you wanted to volunteer? Did this all come out after the accident? Kind of what was that path or journey from going from playing baseball and that being your whole life to this world of the giving back and the volunteering?
That's a great question. I did not understand the nonprofit world. Didn't have an idea about it when I was playing. I can tell you, I've always had a spot in my heart for people with disabilities. From the time I was growing up, some of the kids that I grew up with in the neighborhood who were in special ed, and some of the kids would make fun of or pick on, I would step in and protect them. I don't know where that came from, but it was just something inside of me. And when I was playing, my goal was to take care of my family and people around me as much as I possibly could. I did not have the concept of working with people with disabilities. I was interacted with them, but it was something that I did. I never thought much outside of just that interaction. But once baseball was over and I went through, some personal issues in terms of my injuries and my mental state, it really started to sink in. Like, wow, this is a very different level that I never experienced, and I need some help with this. And once I was able to work through and continue down that journey, it really changed the way I looked at people with disabilities and what I could do for them. So to be quite honest, like I said, I just did things, but there wasn't a plan or intent behind it at that point.
That's what's something that's so neat about of all the guests that I've gotten to speak with, that wherever they started their career, it's all part of it. It all adds on to the next piece of the puzzle, but no one is where they were when they started their career. It's always something very different, or, the baseline might be the same, but the journey just goes to the right and to the left and up and down. And it's fascinating. It's such a great reminder of, where you are today doesn't necessarily mean that's where you're going to be 20 years from now. And there's no way it can be exactly where you're going to be 20 years from now either. We're constantly evolving and changing, whether career and personal. And it sounds like this beautiful amalgamation of things has led you to all the work you've been doing.
Absolutely. That's, you put that. That's so well said that it really was. I at that point in my life, I was focusing on being a professional athlete. And that was my focus. And, I cared about the people that were around me, but I didn't know the extent of what could happen down the road and that journey. And if you would have told me at that point, I was in my early to mid 20s, I would have told you, oh no, I'm going to be a professional athlete. I'm going to do, I had that whole plan set up. That didn't work out so well after a certain point. So that there was a lot of change there, but a lot of growth over time. And so when I look back, and that's why I wanted to write the book, it was a pretty amazing journey that when I was going through that process of saying, wow, I really have been through a lot and have learned a lot, but I have a long way to go.
Yeah, I'm in the performing world. So hearing about these life-changing injuries, rather, where a dancer all of a sudden has no use of their legs, or, all of these sorts of things, and your whole life revolves around this passion of a career, and you are forced into changing it in some way. It's really amazing to hear the different stories of how people have gone through that and built upon their knowledge and shifted. And so it's great to hear that you've written the book and now you can share this with more and more people as well, because people need to hear it and be reminded that things will work out and they will change and it will be okay in the end.
Definitely. And I love the word that you use is passion. I had a passion when I was an athlete for what I was doing. Yeah. My passion now has definitely shifted to the kind of work that I do and trying to be the best advocate I possibly can for people with disabilities. And that passion has definitely moved into another direction, but the passion is just as strong as it was when I was playing. So, but I love that word. And that's what I tell people all the time about the athletes that I work with. When they're playing, the passion that they have for playing and being a part of a team is incredible. I thought I had a lot. They make me look like a real rookie, or someone who just started out, because they just love it. They love being a part of a group, and you can see how they protect and care about each other, which is amazing.
Oh, and you just led perfectly into my next question for you. I feel like everything has been good news moments so far in hearing your stories about working with Special Olympics and the different individuals. But do you have any specific stories about an athlete or anyone in working with BaseABLE or Special Olympics along the way that you'd like to share?
Sure. There are a few people. One is actually on the cover of my book is an athlete who, his name is Andy, wonderful person. Andy's social skills are not as high as some of the other athletes on the team, very quiet, but you can see that he is a caring person. Well, as we were preparing for the USA games, we were having practice, and one of my other athletes hit him with a pitch by mistake. And Andy lost his temper. Andy's about 6'5", well over 240 pounds. He's a big man. And when I saw that, I thought, oh boy, here we go. I mean, it was like this eruption. And I've never seen that from him in the few years that I knew him at that time. And I was able to walk around the ballpark with him with my arm around him and kind of talk to him and calm him down. His mom happened to be there. And she said what stirred him up was when he was little, he was hit by a pitch and it hurt. Mm-hmm. And he was afraid. So I kind of let it go. I didn't know that anything like that prior to that. So we end up playing for the gold medal in the 2014 USA games in Trenton, New Jersey. And the picture is taken of him on his way to home plate. And I know he's petrified. I know he doesn't want to do this, because in practice, I would stand in the batter's box with him basically and hold him in place and talk to him. And my message to him was, just stand there. I don't care what you don't have to do anything in that, but you need to stand in that box and do this. And he did. And just an amazing moment. But they caught that moment, and I had no idea people were taking pictures, but it was like a face-to-face, one hand on his head, one hand on his shoulder, trying to get his full attention and say, you can do this. That's all you need to do. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. And kept repeating that to him. So to see that small change in him, which was huge in his mind, but small for people watching, was just incredible to see how he could go up. And he did. He stood there and he was amazing. He absolutely went through it. I don't remember exactly what he did, but I remember him looking in the box. He kept looking down at me, and I kept, it's okay. You got this. We're good. So a moment like that is basically, for me, it was life-changing to see someone who worked through such a deep-rooted fear from childhood to a person who, and I don't remember exactly how old he was at the time. He may have been in his late 30s. So a long time of holding this in and being in front of a few thousand people with the lights on and this whole to do. I mean, this was a big deal. And to work through that as an athlete with an intellectual disability, to me, was incredible.
You must just, on a daily basis, working with all of these different people, your skill set must just be developing by the day still, every day, of like how to deal with conflict and the different ability levels and just all of the different personalities. Talk about just constantly growing and learning through what you do.
Some days, Kate, it's better than others. I'll tell you a funny story on the other side. I had one of my athletes who I love this guy, and he was mad at me at practice because I wasn't playing him in the position that he wanted to play. So he was acting like a baby. And I basically said, you know what? I'm the coach. You listen to what I say. He said, you know what? I'm going to call Special Olympics and get you fired. I said, okay, here's my phone. Call him. And by the way, tell him to hold my pay. And he looked at me. He said, you get paid a lot. I said, I'm a volunteer. I don't get paid anything. I do this because I love you guys and I love the game. Well, and I said, and by the way, go sit down. I'm not going to tolerate that kind of behavior. Went over, sat in the bench. About 15 minutes later, was walking out. And now the interesting part is the other players went over and started to whisper, oh, you got Coach Tony mad. You got him mad that you shouldn't have done that. And you need to apologize to him, because he cares about us. So, and I didn't send him over there. They were kind of working it. So he came over with the head down, kind of the puppy dog, eyes and the whole bit. Yeah, coach, I'm sorry. I said, okay, who's the coach? He said, you're the coach. I said, who's the player? I'm the player. I said, guess what? Whatever you and I work out together, you'll be great. That was the end of that. But it was so funny. It was like, I'm going to call, I'm going to get you, I'm Maddie, I'm going to get you fired. I said, okay.
Oh my gosh.
So talk about skill set. Obviously that day, he got me a little wound up, and my emotions took over, and actually it was good for them to see that there were some boundaries, and there were some, it's a relationship, and it goes back and forth, and it was kind of learning by the seat of my pants because of spending the time with them and making mistakes, as a coach and as a mentor, and owning up to it. Say, look, I'm sorry that I didn't handle that well, or that, I could have done that better. And then they put their arm around me and say, you know what, coach, you're okay. We'll work through that with you. Thank you. That's great.
Excellent. Well, are there any like sayings or mantras that help you through those challenging times?
Yeah, actually one I have that I wear on a wristband. Nothing is possible. And that's something that, and never, ever give up. Those are two things that just when I'm struggling with something or trying to figure something out, but I keep thinking nothing is impossible. You may hit a lot of dead ends. It may not work that day or at that time, but instead of going through the wall, sometimes you have to go around it or underneath it, or find a different way. And in the past, I probably would have ran my head into it till I had a few concussions. Kind of learned over time that wasn't the best move all the time, and to take a step back and work with people and find a different way, a different approach. But those are two things I live by. One other is just a random act of kindness for people. Just having a person smile that day, holding the door open for somebody, just little things like that. I know it's work, and someone's done that for me. Yeah. And when you return that favor, it's pretty amazing that, the power that brings in a very simple moment. Somebody you've never seen before, you may never see again. And that small moment changes everything.
And, there's studies to back that up now. And I'm so grateful that more of it's coming to light, because we need those reminders of, when you do smile at a stranger, there are those receptors in the brain that are boosted for both of you. And when someone holds a door and gives a compliment. So it's really important, though it's never too small of an act of kindness, for sure.
Never.
And I feel like what you just said could answer my last question, but if you want to keep going with it, I've been asking all my guests, if someone came to you and said, I want to make a difference, like I see what you're doing, I want to do something too, but I feel overwhelmed, I don't know where to start. Is there any advice you'd give them?
Yes, I would, first of all, think about, a group or an individual or an area that they may be interested in, and maybe going to talk to someone who actually does it, maybe a volunteer or somebody in the organization, and observe. Just go and observe and watch and listen. And that's really the key, of kind of sit back and you learn a lot from observing. And that's what I would suggest that someone does. Like, if you're really interested in working with people with disabilities, go to a VA hospital, go to, a school where disabled kids work, or go to school, go to a Special Olympics event, go to a challenger event for Little League. There's so many people out there. There's so many organizations that could use help on all different levels. And I think getting outside of yourself and taking that first step is the biggest. And talking about to other people like yourself, saying, I'd really like to help, but I don't know what I'm doing. Well, what areas are you interested in? And let's build from there. What would you like to do? What interest do you have? I'd like to read. Well, there's places where you can read to the blind, or read to children. So I think the first part is, instead of just talking about it, is take that first step. It's always a start that finishes a lot of people, because I don't know what to do. Take that first step, and sometimes it may not work out, but you know what, you learn from it and you build on it. It's trial and it's life. You hopefully build on your experiences.
And hopefully you won't get fired, since you're not getting a paycheck to begin with.
That's right. That's right. I probably was one of the few people who got fired as a volunteer, and and didn't know that I could get fired like that. So.
Hey, Tony, where can people find you, follow Special Olympics, find your book online?
My book is actually on Amazon.com, and it's Just Need an Opportunity. Let's Play Ball, and it's under my name. My name is Tony Vlahovic. If you look that up, my nonprofit is BaseABLE.org, and there's some great videos on there and pictures of events and things that we do. What the basic purpose of that organization is to help people who are athletes that have disabilities, give them an opportunity to play the game of baseball, help them out with equipment, help them out with travel. We're going to start a coach education process for people. The other thing is I'm on Twitter at Tony Vlahovic. I'm on Instagram, the same thing. So there are a lot of areas that, if you look on social media, I try to keep a presence, but a real positive one about what we're doing.
Excellent. And that'll all be in the show notes as well. And finally, Tony, because you mentioned all the baseball caps you're constantly wearing, what is your favorite one to wear?
Oh boy, now you really put me on the spot, Kate. I try to change it up. Most people, I'm not the best when it comes to fashion, so I do try to match whatever I can. I don't know if you remember the Granimals from Sears, and I try to get the colors. So I don't know. I think it really depends where I'm going and on my mood that day. So I have, if I can show you, I have a whole basically staircase going into the basement filled with hats. It seems like my son has picked up on that also. So, but I have to tell you, I probably don't have a favorite, but there are some that I lean toward, and I let my high school players, my team, create a new hat every year. Really a neat thing for them. If they play for me for 4 years, they have 4 different hats. And I let the seniors kind of design that, and then we go back and then they put basically their name on it, cool. Which is great. So that's part of our tradition. My Special Olympic athletes, I get them involved with their hats also as much as I possibly can, which they love also, but they also love a lot of other hats. So they just about any team that we go see play or we're invited to, they want the hat.
It's their memento.
Right, exactly.
Well, excellent. Tony, I can't thank you enough for your time today and all that you're doing.
Okay, thank you. You do amazing work, and I hope you continue to. And thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. And again, thank you for giving me the chance to be on your show and to meet you.
Thanks for tuning in. If you found this helpful, a 5-star review, like, or comment means the world to me. And if you found insight in this episode, chances are someone else will too. Share with a friend to give them a boost today. Until next time, I'm Kate Cherichello-Tente, and this was Be the Good with Kate.